Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Goins from the Reimagine Schools podcast, a proud member of the Education Podcast Network, just like the show you're listening to right now. The opinions expressed are those of the individual host. Make sure you check out all the other great podcasts at edupodcastnetwork.com and get ready because the learning begins in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to episode 61 of the Google Teacher Tribe podcast, your source for the latest Google for Education news, tips, tricks, and ideas you can use in class tomorrow. I'm Matt Miller from Ditch That Textbook.
And I'm Casey Bell from Shake Up Learning.
Miller from Ditch That Textbook.
And
I'm Matt Miller from Ditch That Textbook.
And I'm Casey Bell from Shake Up Learning. Are you ready to jump into part 2 of Google Slides? This is going to be so much fun, y'all. Matt and I have decided we probably could do an entire season of podcast episodes on Google Slides. It is so awesome. The most versatile tool, I think, in your G Suite toolbox. So we're going to jump in. We're going to keep going. This is part 2, episode 61. So if you want to go back if you missed episode, hear some of those ideas and get the foundation there. And then we're all season of podcast episodes on Google Slides. It is so awesome. The most versatile tool, I think, in your G Suite toolbox. So we're going to jump in. We're going to keep going. This is part 2, episode 61. So if you want to go is going to be so much fun, y'all. Matt and I have decided we probably could do an entire season of podcast episodes on Google Slides. It is so awesome. It's the most versatile tool, I think, in your G Suite toolbox. So we're going to jump in. We're going to keep going. This is part 2, episode 61. So if you want to go back, if you missed episode 60, you definitely want to hear some of those ideas and get the foundation there. And then we're also, of course, going to talk about some pretty important Google news and updates. So a lot has happened since we last talked to you. So we're going to share what's been going on in the Google world. And of course, we've got some really awesome feedback and mailbag from our listeners. Thank you for that. And then we will share, of course, what's been going on the blogs. So, Matt, you ready to get started?
I am ready. Let's do this.
Let's go.
Ready, let's do this. It's time for some news and updates. And since we're going to be talking about slides during this episode, actually, Casey, during the introduction, I was just thinking, and we talked about this off the air, we could probably totally do an entire podcast about Google Slides, couldn't we?
Oh, yes, we totally could.
Yeah. And you guys would love it, wouldn't you? Wouldn't the tribe totally gobble it up? I think that you guys would listen to every. Now, don't get your hopes up. We're not going to do it. Okay. We're going to share all of our great Google Slides stuff through this podcast right here. There will be no spin-off Google Slides podcast. So sorry, but you'll still get lots of great stuff here. And speaking of Google Slides just announced what I think is an amazing new feature, and it has to do with captioning. And so captioning is a pretty common thing in YouTube videos. But what happens so often is if you're doing a presentation live in person and you have your slides up front and you're talking to a group, what happens sometimes is people who sometimes don't hear as well, or people who have some sort of accessibility issues, or maybe English isn't their first language or whatever, they might have trouble hearing you. And that's the beauty of having captions on a video. And of course, we haven't had that in slides or, any other presentation software like that until now. So I think I remember seeing on an article or a video or something, there were a couple of people at Google who made this kind of like their passion project. And they came up with a way to do live captioning over Google Slides. So you start up a Google Slides presentation and you turn this captioning on, and it will listen to your voice as you're talking during the presentation, and it will throw captions up there on the screen live. So this isn't part of a video or anything. This just lays over the top of your slides. And so we've got a video here in the show notes that you can check out, and an article that kind of gives you all of the details. But Casey, I don't know about you, but this really kind of blew my mind when I saw it.
Yeah, this is super cool. And of course, it came at just the right time since we've been talking so much about, how amazing Slides is as a tool. So to add this in, this is amazing
for an accessibility feature. You're going to now be able to support some of those students who may be deaf or hard of hearing. You're also going to be able to help people understand you better, maybe in a noisier environment. Because I'm thinking about sometimes, even just when I present, sometimes it's hard for people to see the screen to hear me. They need to see the screen to see the captions.
Yes, that's the way they work.
This can definitely help. And I think we all get a little giddy when they give us some sort of new feature inside Google Slides, especially.
Yeah. Now, real quick before we move on past this, it does say in the article this works on US English on Chrome browsers. It's created from the presenter's computer and microphone, so it may not work consistently if there are multiple presenters using different computers. And they also suggest that you let the audience know that the captions are from Google Slides and not like video conferencing software, and that it's only the speaker's voice. So there are a couple limitations, but it's still pretty amazing.
So we're going to move on to another topic, and this one is going to be clear as mud, y'all, I promise. Google sort of flew under the radar a little bit with this announcement, and it's a big announcement that Google Plus is actually Google sort of flew under the radar a little bit with this announcement, and it's a big announcement that Google Plus is actually shutting down for the consumers. And this is huge. Even if you haven't been using this is huge for a lot of other reasons. And I'm going to read to you some information that I got.
And for a lot of other reasons. And I'm going to read to you some
for a lot of other reasons. And I'm going to read to you some information that I got as a GEG leader. So if you're not familiar with the GEGs, those are the Google Educator Groups, and they're all over the globe. So I'm a co-leader of the North Texas group, and I got a little, at the bottom of an email newsletter, I got a blurb about it.
Just in case you're interested in this. Oh, this is no big deal, but.
Mm-hmm. So, because if, it's not like at the top of, of course, it was not under good circumstances that this happened. If you haven't paid attention, there was a data breach, and it was pretty bad. It was pretty big, and they didn't really talk about it like they should have. So Google's getting really sort of put under fire over this, kind of like Facebook has in the past few months. But Anyway, so let's get back to what's going on now. Like I mentioned, that the GEGs are in Google Plus. They're Google Plus communities, and that to me has always been the biggest selling point of Google Plus is the actual community feature that kind of set it apart from some of the other things. And now, like I mentioned, that the GEGs are in Google Plus. They're Google Plus communities, and that to me has always been the biggest selling point of Google Plus is the actual community feature that kind of set it apart from some of the other things. And of course, it works with your Google account, and lots of schools have been doing these. I use these with some different groups that I work with, and so when I got this link, it's like join the GEG leader discussion. So the link looks like it's a similar platform, but it's not actually in Google Plus. It's in a Cloud Connect community, which makes me think that I'm going to see more of this. So just FYI. So here's what they put in here on October 9th. Dear leaders, as many of you now know, Google Plus is going to be removed as a consumer product while being maintained for G Suite organizational users. Not being clear about which G Suites that is, but I'm assuming they do mean G Suite for Education, just since that's who these people are. We know many communities rely on Google Plus for their discussions, sharing, and organizing events, both in person and online, and this will be a significant change for many of you leading communities. However, there are a number of communities around the world which do not rely on G Plus as their platform for communication and sharing. Therefore, we would like you to share your use of platforms, ideas for community building, and any questions you have right here. So I'm reading this, and like I said, it's clear as mud. Like it is this vague explanation here, but I'm reading this as they are pursuing possibly some other options for the GEG groups themselves. Not exactly being clear on what's going to happen, but we do know using will be shut down, and I believe they said over the next 10 months. It's going to be slow. So a lot of people are kind of freaking out. Like they have collections that have all of these other things and have a lot of data in there, and we just don't have all the information yet.
Yeah, and that's going to be a huge, huge shift, I know, for a lot of people. So we're going to have to kind of keep our eyes open, and we will do our best to try to keep you up to speed on all that. Now, let's turn our attention to something a little bit happier, a little bit more positive. If you haven't seen it, Google released this video in light of World Teachers Day, and it's called A Moment in Search. And so if you haven't seen it, it's pretty cool, pretty inspiring. It shows all of these little searches, like how to introduce yourself as a teacher, how to make learning fun, how to get supplies for my classroom, best ways to teach self-confidence. And it shows all of these quick video clips of, fun, engaging, interesting things from the classroom. I know Ron Clark Academy is in there a couple of times. And so if you haven't seen it, it's only about 1:12 seconds. We got a link to it in the show notes, as well as there's an entire playlist for World Teachers Day with some more teacher inspiration, some amazing teachers from all around the world. And so they've got a little over 50 videos, I think, including some TED Talks too, of some really cool videos. So if you're looking for a little bit of inspiration, Google has curated some good stuff for you.
I think, including some TED Talks too, of some really cool videos. So if you're looking for a little bit of inspiration, Google. Including some TED Talks too, cool videos. So if you're looking for a little bit of, including some TED Talks too, videos, I think, including some TED Talks of some really cool. And so they've got a little over 50 videos, I think, including some TED Talks of some really cool videos. So if you're looking for a little bit of inspiration, Google has curated some good stuff for us here.
Oh yeah, that one video is one that just kind of gives you chills as a teacher. It really does give that emotional impact there.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to move on to something else that showed up on the keyword blog. That's blog. That emotional impact there. Now, I'm going to move on to something else that showed up on the keyword blog. That's blog.google. And this is titled Helping Parents Have the Tech Talk with Their Kids. So I know many of you are in positions where
you're also facilitating these conversations and having things like parent meetings to help parents understand the technology kids are using in the classroom and the skills that they're going to need. And obviously digital citizenship is a big part of that. And one of the programs that Google's had now for a couple years is the Be Internet Awesome program. So this is in conjunction with the Be Internet Awesome program. And essentially what's happening is October is apparently National Cybersecurity Awareness and National Bullying Prevention Month. Could they make that longer? It is a thing apparently in October. And Google's partnering with the National PTA and Donors Choose on 2 new initiatives that are going to help keep kids safe and be positive online. So they're introducing this Be Internet Awesome kit, which by the way is also bilingual. It's going to be in English and Spanish. And the kit is going to include a pixel book to power the workshop, a presentation developed in partnership with the Family Online Safety Institute, a family guide, posters for the school, and a school banner as
A family guide, posters for the school program. So pretty awesome right there. So you're going to find more information about this on their website. And the link is, of course, included in our show notes, googleteachertribe.com/61.
I'm hitting record now, and we should be rolling again.
Okay, y'all, let's jump into Google Slides and continue our conversation from episode 60. So, as we mentioned before, we're in part 2 just because we couldn't fit it all in one episode. In fact, I think we're having a hard time fitting it into 2 episodes.
Yep.
But we're going to do it because you're going to get tired of Google Slides. However, I hardly ever get tired of Google Slides. And as I tell a lot of people,